Welcome to the Point of Difference Rugby League podcast. I'm your host, Dave, and today I have a sensational guest on the show. He's a Welsh legend, dual international actually for both rugby union and rugby league. It's the one and only Jiffy, Jonathan Davies. How are you, man?
Good day. Well, not too good at the moment. I've just had a knee replacement about 10 days ago, so I'm kind of struggling through it. It's a good one, but it's, hey, wouldn't change anything for the world.
Well, I suppose it's the old rugby league injuries catching up on you these days.
It was odd. I tore my cruciates in 1982. It was okay. I just broke the Neath team, rugby union, and then I played in the Sevens tournament, and someone decided to, break my cruciate. So I had to start again then. So it's like it was tough at the start, but hey, it lasted me throughout my career, so I was happy with that.
That's good. So, what have you been up to lately, man? Like, you've been doing a bit of commentary over the years, but what's the sort of typical day in the life of Jonathan Davies these days?
It's so diverse, so you wouldn't believe it. I never imagined anything like it. I left school at 16 as a painter and decorator, right? Not a good one. But it's it's weird. I work for a sustainable energy company in Swansea, which is brilliant, like I'm brand ambassador, and a guy that does like a kind of bog mats for heavy industry cranes, So I do a bit of that. I do after dinner speaking, and things like that. I still do the Jonathan show, which is a chat show with Nigel Owens and Sarah Elgan, it's the 20th year this year.
Wow.
And the sparkling of the commentary, rugby union, rugby league. I don't do as much anymore. I don't do hardly any of the club games. I think I've done that now for so long, and the spark has gone from that. So I just concentrate on some of the league, internationals league. I'm doing some more this year, and I do the Six Nations this year. So I do a bit of corporate stuff then for the WYU during the autumn. So there's enough going on. I've never been, I've always worked alongside my stroke career, which I've always regarded rugby as a hobby and broadcasting as a hobby, which I got paid for. But plenty of things to do.
Yeah, man, not bad, eh? Not bad. All right, man, let's rewind the clock. Jonathan Davies, where did you grow up? What was life like for you as a young fella growing up in Wales?
I think it's very similar to Australia, New Zealand. I think I grew up in a small mining community, steelworks mining. My dad worked in steelworks. I was born in the council estate, and just started playing rugby, at a very young age. And I think, like everyone else, you have a mentor that comes. Your dad comes along. Your dad's a mentor. But his one school teacher, Marion Davies, he started, being disciplined and working on core skills when we were there by the age of 8. And that was the difference. That's what really got me into it. And I think that we had a good side together in school. We were quite successful. We had a lot of good athletes. And with the training that he gave us, because he was actually sat on the bench when Llanelli Scarlets beat the All Blacks in '73.
Oh, yeah. That was a really good time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. So he was a good coach and everything. And but that was the start of it, and just naturally kind of played all kind of sports, really. It's like any kid. If you enjoy athletics, your cricket, your football, it was just normal. And I enjoyed growing up in the village. It was brilliant.
Brilliant, man. So when you did start playing rugby union a bit more, seriously, what was the position you mostly played in?
I've always played 10. Always. It was weird. Played 10 at primary school. Then I went to grammar school, which is this is interesting. I went to a grammar school called Gwendrath Grammar School.
Okay.
And there was the previous standoffs to go to Gwendrath Grammar School were Carwyn James, Barry John, and Gareth Davies. So there's no really to be successful there. And the unfortunate thing for me, my dad passed away when I was very young, and when he had cancer. And the good thing about it, I realised that the community, how important the community was, and the village kind of rallied around me and my mum a lot because my dad had come in the village. So I realised how close and to the community rugby was. So I enjoyed it because of that reason as well. But yeah, I just kept on playing. I didn't have any schoolboy honours, didn't have any international honours at youth level. Wasn't given the opportunity to play for the first grade side, and I was just playing for my village from Saran, which is a great experience at the time. I was 18, playing in the local leagues, and it was brutal, very brutal, dirty. But so you had to kind of have a little bit of peripheral vision, so to speak, not to get teeth knocked out. But it was a great experience. And then one day, I had a phone call in a rugby club. Neath RFC called me and said, "Do you want a chance?" And Phil Bennett had rung them. Phil Bennett had said, "Look, he's a young kid in the village. He deserves a chance." So that's how I got my start, really, thanks to Benny.
Amazing. That's fantastic, man. So just 35 games into your career for Neath, you were selected in 1985 to play for Wales in the Five Nations against the arch rivals England, of course. So how amazing was that to be selected? Like you said, you weren't actually picked for any national sides coming through the youth grades. So were you excited or intimidated or just freaking out? Like, how were you, man?
I think anyone who kind of has been in that position, I think it's a bit of both. I think you're overly excited purely because you wanted to do it for your dad and your village and all the teammates you played and they come to so early in my first grade career. It's quite intimidating as well because you always have doubts. Are you good enough? Am I good enough? I've been rushed in because what it's like. You have one bad game and that's the end of your career. So it was very intimidating. But I was very lucky. One thing I always had, I had enough pace, and there is no substitute for pace in any sport really. So it was we won the game. I had man of the match because I kicked the worst drop goal in my life. And I scored the worst try in my life, but they were against England, so they don't really matter. There's a difference between winning and losing. So it was a great experience, and I was working with a guy called Terry Holmes at the time, scrum half. He was an amazing player, Terry. So it was a pleasure to play with Terry a couple of times. But yeah, just to achieve that goal was very special, especially after you said I'd never had a Welsh Cup before, so it was really special.
Yeah, but to go out there and also be so influential in your first game in front of a big crowd and, like you're man of the match, kicking a goal, scoring a try, like, doesn't get much better than that. Not really, eh?
No, try the Rover stuff really against England. It's for some, I suppose beating New Zealand would be the biggest thing now for Wales, but England's always the big game, and they're all big games. So I think for the player, they're all big games. But yeah, it was nice to get away with a good start against England because international rugby is all about small margins, and in every kind of era, you see a side that just is a little bit better than anyone else, and everyone kind of compare sides. The current South African side, where does that rank and all that? But there's so many brilliant sides, and the rest of us can beat one another. So it's vitally important to get that first game under there. It was really. I think if you look back on the whole career, some magical moments, winning with sides, and that is, I think for me, that still stands out to my best purely because of where I was growing up and who I was, and so it's important. And I think it's important because I think everyone, when you come from a small little club, everyone in that small little club appreciates the work that everyone else has put into nurturing you to get to where you are, so it's really nice.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty incredible, man. Now, 1986, you flew to Tonga to take on the national side. You came up against one of my best friends here in Christchurch, Amosi Kalono, who was playing for Tonga, and one of the most brutal bloodbaths between the two nations. So what are your memories of the game? And did you and Amosi get caught up in all the carnage? That's what I want to know.
Here's the funny thing, right? I played against, I was very fortunate. I played against Amosi, and then I went to play with him, right? The two things that stand out to my memory, that kind of era was I played against Amosi in Tonga, first of all. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I turned up in New Zealand, and there's this number 8. I'm like, sure I've recognized him before. And it was Mossy playing for Wellington, right? I'd had enough of him in the first time. But that's the same thing happened with Michael Jones. I turned up in Samoa on that same tour. This guy is like in my face all the time, Michael Jones, and all of us. And I realized how good he was then. Then the next guy, he's there again, play for New Zealand. I was like, what's going on here? You know, I thought, oh, can I play for New Zealand? Can I swap or something? You know what I mean? It was the Tonga tour. We were a young Welsh side, and we went to Fiji, Tonga, Samoa. Right, and they turned down tours there because they said it's for health and safety reasons. We went in '86. Imagine what it was like then. Well, we won every game, right? But we had a ras physically. They were like, we went to Fiji first of all. That was a brutal game. We won that test. When David Pickering, our tour captain, got kicked in the head and he went home. Then we went to Tonga and they said, they were called the Friendly Isles. And we stayed in the Dateline Hotel. I always remember there was like, first we checked, there was rats running across the bar of the counter on the top. And we were just like, we were amateurs. We were just happy to be on tour, enjoying ourselves, all the youngsters, having a great time. First game, I remember Tuesday afternoon match, pre the test. I kicked the ball to touch and the ball had bounced the touch about 3 times and this prop hit me in the chest like an Exocet missile. So I went down, I got up, and I went down again. And then he played in the 1974 against Wales. With this prop. I can't remember his name now, but I must know him. And so I went to the hospital, right? They checked me out. There's no doors on the hospital and nothing, dogs everywhere. And then they said there's no one here. There's no one here. They're all at the game. So I know. So to go back in the taxi to the hotel, take some painkillers. I was like, oh, I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die in Tonga, man. So that was just the warm up. That was Tuesday. So I got ready for the test, played the test. And the King of Tonga turned up, and we had to walk up the stairs to meet him, not him come down. Walked up to Tonga, and then this game ensued, and it was a muddy day. And I think Moriarty's got involved, and the fight started, and then it was just absolute crazy stuff. Everyone was fighting except Malcolm Dacey, he was full back. I think he stayed out of it. I think we lost the fight 13-1. I think John Devereux won his fight.
Shot Donny.
We had 2 players stretchered off. The ambulance came on the field to get them up. Then they got stuck in the mud, so we had to push the ambulances off. Right? This is just, you couldn't make it up. Then we watched. Then we got home. We were like, what's going on here? Then we went back to the hotel. We watched the game on the video. And it was stunned silence. It was like, and we'd all been involved in brutal games before as kids. And the following morning, someone had broken in and stolen the tape. So no one's ever seen the tape.
You're kidding?
Yeah. So so no one's ever seen the tape, right? So if anyone in Tonga's got a tape of it, like send it over, because we thought the military police had broken in, but we've never seen the video. No one's ever seen the video. There's no footage of it anywhere.
What I wouldn't give to see that game.
I know. Then we moved on to Samoa then, and we stayed in Africa, and we beat them with. And it was, it was a great experience for us because tough, right? We were a young side, and we won all the matches. So it was good fun. looking back, not at the time.
Great story. So the following year, you flew to New Zealand with the Welsh side to play in the World Cup. How special was it to be named in the Welsh World Cup side, fly to New Zealand for the inaugural World Cup? How amazing was that?
I tell you what, it was amazing, right? Because, but then again, no one knew what was going on, right?
Okay.
New Zealand and Australia were the 2 that really prepped for it. They realised the magnitude of this competition. And I've spoken to Fitzy, and Fitzy said, like, this, we've been called the best team in the world, New Zealand, for years. This is a chance to prove. So, they were up for it, geared for it. They had a great side. We were like going on holiday. Our training was a weekend in Tenby, right? So on the piss, basically. So we went down there. And then we got out there, and it was. that's a. He went to Australia, and then they said, like, you know what? We said, oh, we're playing the World Cup. And they said, oh, what World Cup? So they really hadn't bought into it, the Aussie public.
Okay.
But New Zealand were like, you know, the Steinlager advert, Stand By Me, Benny King was everywhere, everywhere. The players were like, you know, promoted on television, advertising, everything. So we realised we were in a big comp, but our big game, we had to beat Ireland to get through. So we beat Ireland, we beat Tonga, and
Beat Canada. Yep.
Beat Canada. Then we
and you beat England.
Yeah. In the worst game of all time in Ballymore, and then we came up against the Blacks. And if you did stats, right, it'd be very interesting to see how much the stats were on scrums, lineouts, yardage, possession, territory. Because I think we had 0. It would have been single figures, right? That was the gap between us at the time. And France were different because France had really brilliant individuals. So with them and their big ball carrying forwards, so them in the 80s, I think consistently good were, you know, maybe the biggest threat to New Zealand and Australia. So they came through, you know, they beat Australia in Ballymore in a big surprise, and then we beat Australia in Rotorua. And that was an amazing way to finish it. You know, I don't think we were the third best side in the world. I think France were better than us, and maybe Australia. Okay. But on the day, you know, we did what we did, and we came third. So it was amazing. It was amazing. It was a great achievement from the preparation we had. You know, because no one had a clue what was going on. And that was it. Then we just kind of, and because of the good kicking we had on the South Seas tour, we gelled together. And well, and we had some talented individuals. Maybe the forwards lacked a little bit because we got, you know, we went to New Zealand the following year, didn't we?
Yes.
And any argument that you have, any argument that everyone says, like, oh, which is the best All Black side, which is the best South African side, which is the best, but just like the 88 All Black side will always be up there competing for the best side in the world. No matter what you say, because they transitioned into, you know, they were amateur, but they were, after the first World Cup, they were professional. They trained like pros better than anyone else. So I just thought that they, you know, especially when we went to 88, the difference was even bigger because they kicked on.
Yeah.
They, you know, they had the professional mindset. Maybe they weren't getting paid, but they were getting sponsored, so they were allowed to train. So I think they were then just the gap grew. You can see that physically by the players, and we got mullered in that test, and even the, you know, the Wellingtons, Waikatos, you can see the difference there as well. So but for me, that was a great learning curve for me because I just wanted to outplay my opposite number all the time.
Okay.
And realizing that, you know, we were never going to beat the All Blacks.
Okay.
A little bit kind of demoralizing, really, you know, into a test, knowing that you're not going to win. But you just got to put your best performance in, and you know, and hopefully get a bit of pride from it at the end. So it was very, very enjoyable tour. I learned a hell of a lot about a lot of other people, about the game, about myself. And it was you know, it was a great experience to tour New Zealand.
Yeah, man. And was it around that time you also lost to Romania, like a real surprise loss to Romania? Did you feel any pressure after that? Like, has that sort of like led your conversion to rugby league?
It was a bit odd, I think. It was weird. It was a couple of things. I was playing for Llanelli at the time, and we were a great side, right? The club side were brilliant. And Wales were going well, and then after that tour in '88, you know, the committee, we got to change everything and everybody. Okay. I looked at it and went, okay, they brought a coach in, John Ryan, God bless his soul, and I don't think he understood the players at the time that were there and what we'd been through, and they sacked Eric Quinnell and Tony Gray. Then he tried to change the players and bring other players in, which weren't as good as the players they dropped.
Okay.
So if they'd have just stuck with those group of players who had gone through that hardship of World Cup, of '88, right?
Right.
You know, we won a Triple Crown, and
yes,
that before we came there. So I thought that we need a couple of big bad forwards. But I do think if we would have stuck and persevered with those players and everything and nurtured us as a side, the 91 World Cup, I think we would have, England got the final look.
Yeah.
So I think if we would have kept everyone together, we would have better side than England then.
Yeah.
So I think we had home advantage. So it would have been an interesting World Cup to see how we would have fared, But
yeah,
but that in hindsight, that's what it is. So, with changing things, and I was captain. We got lost against Romania, and I got blamed for the defeat because I was captain. I'm going okay, and then we beat Samoa, but I just felt that they didn't understand where the game was going and what professionalism was.
Okay.
We were never going to beat the likes of New Zealand and Australia as the Northern Hemisphere was.
Okay.
So my realization, my career was very, sporting careers are short. And I thought, right, okay, I can win things for my club. Maybe I'll win a few Triple Crowns, maybe a Grand Slam, you never know.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's playing at the highest level of international rugby and pitting yourself against the best in the world. And I never felt that we were ever going to beat them. And that was a disappointment. So then they started I remember I played in the World Sevens in '86. I scored a hat-trick against the Blacks, and the rugby league side started noticing then. So when I came back, so I kept them at bay for a while. And then all of a sudden they came down, and I felt a little bit disillusioned with the Welsh rugby team. So they came down and started talking.
Right. Okay. So, how did you feel about that when you were initially approached? And was it definitely something you're like, I'm quite interested in, especially after all the, the highs and the lows of that '88 season?
And to be honest, I'd never seen a rugby league game, live.
Really?
No, never. So I watched a bit on television. I watched a Challenge Cup final, So and then all of a sudden, like when they were kind of asking me, what I thought and everything, and I didn't really know. I'd never seen a game. So I talked to Leeds, I talked to Warrington, turned them down. And then Widnes came along and asked me if I wanted it. They said they were taking the revenue one, so there was no tax issues.
Okay.
It was a brave call, because I just, having been grown up, my dad passed, then I tore my cruciates. I'd never had security for my family, so basically, I just went for the money.
Okay.
And the plan was to go to a good side, because I thought I'll go to a good side, and if I can get in, that'll be brilliant. I can win things and try and play international rugby. If I went to a poor side, it'll be hard work, and I wouldn't have the platform for my skills. So I just said, yep, okay. Took a big leap of faith, shook hands with Jim, and the following day they came up with the goods, and I signed.
How good is that? So what's it like walking into the club? You've got guys like Kurt Sorensen, Kiwi legend, and Mossy, Joe Grima, Andy Courier, Martin O'Fire. How do you feel walking in?
The media was up. It was a frenzy. Up to wherever I went, everyone said never make it. I was too soft. I was too small. All this stuff like as you usually get. But hey, I had enough belief in my own ability. I knew I was tough enough, and if I just needed a bit of luck like everyone else did. So that's why, I looked at it and went, they had Kurt, Phil McKenzie, Mossy, the O'Neills, then you had the Hume brothers, you had Tate, O'Fire, you had Courier and Darren Wright. Tony Milo was the current standoff for Great Britain.
Yeah.
So you had
good side.
Side, Derek Pike was there. So I just knuckled down there, and I just thought, right, from becoming an international player, you just become an apprentice and a novice.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to play the ball, even just do that. So I did that, and then gradually they started me off on the wing. He protected me a little bit because everyone was going to kill me, you know. So they all said. And I was that really. It was just I fitted in. I played wing. Then I played, you know, full back, played centre, played standoff, and a couple of things. So the first half of the season was like a kind of a fast learning curve.
Okay.
Then I had a good pre-season. I trained. I actually did. I was doing weights with the Moss. Yeah, I was doing weights with the Mossy and Kurt.
Well, they lifting you.
Obviously different weights. But you know, it was just great to be with them. So, and then the following year, I had my first full season. Then I went on a Great Britain tour to New Zealand.
Yeah.
And it all kind of like really, really kind of congested learning curve, which was brilliant for me. It took me about 3 months to adjust to the angles and everything.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed it then. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, man. It doesn't take you long to find your feet, really. You know, like you said, you moved slowly further in field as the season went on, and then you guys went all the way and won the premiership in your first season. So all of a sudden, that brave move's just totally paid off in that moment.
It did. It was. I'm playing with that side was brilliant. It was just a great side, exciting team to play with. It was just brilliant. And also again, it was a little bit like because Wigan were full-time pros. You know, people always say, "Oh, Wigan were this, Wigan were that." You know, they were winning because they had more money than anyone else.
Okay.
So if you played well against Wigan, they'd buy you, right? So, for example, you know, if they had a centre who was injured, Farah or something like that, or I tell you what, they just bought Inga to Gamala, or they just brought over Gene Miles.
Wow.
So you know what I mean. So and then they bought Ellery, they bought Gregory, they bought Andy Platt.
Yeah.
Plus they had all these youngsters coming through. Then they bought Botica. So it was still, you know, everyone was saying, oh, they were the great side. They were a great side because they had great individuals. But they won everything because they had more money than anyone else.
Okay.
So they should win everything. So that's, you know, but it was always a challenge, you know, to play against them because they were a brilliant side with great individuals. But you know, we were up there against them quite a few times. And if anything, we could have won the Challenge Cup against them once. We didn't play well that day.
No.
Richie got sent off. Bobby Golden nearly got sent off, but we didn't really control it. We gave a couple of silly tries away, so we could have beaten them on that day. But ultimately, it was, you know, we beat Canberra in the World Club Challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
And if you look at that side, you know, Canberra Raiders were
absolutely outstanding. You know,
all of them.
Bradley Clyde, the Walters brothers, Chicka Ferguson. You know, mate, let's go on. Steve Jackson, amazing side. Laurie Daly,
Ricky Stewart, Gary Belcher.
Amazing.
You know, you were just, you know, Coyne, Lazarus.
Oh, Gary Coyne, yes, he's a great player.
Yeah, they were all, you know, all brilliant players, like, you know. So to win that was brilliant, and it was just enjoy. I just really enjoyed the game, to be honest. You know, I love scoring tries. I love playing with good sides, and also, I don't think when we went to Papua New Guinea in New Zealand in 1990. Papua New Guinea was like wild. You know, we spent 3 weeks there prepping for New Zealand. So we trained really up, 3 o'clock every afternoon, big sessions. Then played the test matches. We won one. We lost one as well. But when the referee is Papua New Guinea, and you got to give that. You know what I mean? So, but it was all in prep for New Zealand, and we went to New Zealand, and again, they were a great side, New Zealand at the time, and everyone had written us off. Everyone, all the big players had dropped out. But we hung on in there. I think we won the first test 10-9, and then the second test 11-10.
Correct. We nailed it.
we had 2 chances to score. I scored in the first test, I think. But then that's it. You know, we just hung on and for life, and we won the series 2-0. And if Chadius hadn't dropped the ball in the third test, we might have been 3-0. But you know, it was just, again, going over there was a brilliant experience. You know, it's great, especially to go over there. And I think I was picked on reputation, not merit, maybe because they wanted a they wanted a rugby union guy to be there on tour to raise the profile.
Right.
But I played in all the tests, so I earned my crust. And
you're a pretty handy player. You're pretty handy.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, it was all right. I just enjoyed touring. I enjoyed playing. I enjoyed playing against countries in their home countries.
Yeah.
The atmosphere, the intensity of the whole trip. Living out your comfort zone. So it's it kind of makes you really.
And what's it like playing like the Kiwi guys, like your Darryl Williams, your Gary Freemans, Brent Todd, Dwayne Manns, your Tamu Nikals? Like, are they a different type of player to the Brits, and the Aussies?
Oh yeah, they are. I
Yeah.
think they are. They're all amazing, individually talented.
Okay.
I think maybe the hardest guy I marked, when I didn't like marking, was Kevin Iro.
Oh mate, he could play, that boy.
He could play.
So
Very good
strong.
I was marking Tony on the wing, and I swapped jerseys with him. I went like, what am I going to do with this? I can go on holidays in a tent. I said, give that to your boy or something. Mine was like that size. His was that size. So, but you had, Tuara Nicow, Richie Blackmore, Freeman.
Yeah.
I played against, then I played against, what's his, Stacey Jones.
Oh mate, he's like a legend. Yeah. He's such a legend.
I was very fortunate to play against so many legends in both codes. I was very, very, very lucky. And then, they were all, they were all great players. Even like you had Dave Watson.
Oh yes.
Like of a character, but what a player! You had so many of these who just sprout up, and their footballing ability and their skills were absolutely brilliant. So they were a different kind of style to the Aussies. They had their own style.
Yeah.
When they knuckled came at you, it was really, really tough. So but it was played against them week in, week out, and I played against them then, in test matches. Because I played against them in '92 then. I beat them in '92 as well at home.
Yeah.
But it was like just just great players. And a lot of players, maybe a lot of them wouldn't. You mentioned the rugby union, rugby league boys. A lot of the union players wouldn't know half of these. If you mentioned Stacey Jones, like, they would know who he was. They wouldn't know Andrew Johns. I'm like, yeah, okay, you got to watch him.
Yeah, like the best players the two countries produced over the 90s, amazing.
When you think, if you play, you're playing against people like John Kerwin, and then you got someone like Michael Jones, Tuara Nicow, then you got Inga.
Inga the winger, how good.
It's just a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, man. Now, you said you went to PNG as well, Papua New Guinea, and you guys got upset by them 2018 in the test. But what are your memories of Papua New Guinea, of the country and the experience? Like, there has to be some good stuff out there.
Well, they said don't go out to your hotels because it's cannibalism. That was an eye-opener. I don't know if you're taking the mickey or not. Then we had the heat was so intense. Like, we'd have to get way ahead on the scoreboard because we were all out on our feet.
Yeah.
And then you just hang on in test matches. They were so physical, and the grounds were like concrete. And that was pre. You could spear tackle in them days, and they loved the spear tackle. You just come in and bang you on the head, So that was that. But I remember one game we had. Chris Bibb was wandering around. He was dehydrated, so I had to go on in the last 5 minutes. That was a bit of a test. What was the other one? We had one game where actually the military police came on and shot tear gas into the crowd, right? And there were people falling out of the trees, and we were on the floor, and the referee was going like, and tear gas is horrendous in your eyes. Then we'd wipe us down, and then the referee would go, "Okay, play on." You play on. So but these are the things you got to put up with. I think the professional players use it as a mollycoddle a little bit.
Yeah, I reckon, man. That's why I love chatting to you guys, hearing those stories from when times were so different.
So different. Pre-camera days, brilliant.
Yeah, man, you get away with all sorts.
I know.
Oh, that's brilliant, man.
Mad.
1990, you went to a Lancashire Cup final against Salford, and they were coached by another Kiwi legend, Kevin Tamati. But you got the win 24-18, so pretty awesome to add another piece of silverware to the collection, like a big pile of of trophies starting to form by this point.
Yeah, it was nice. We were always there or thereabouts winning things like, and it's, it's because I think when I played with Wales in international level, so you didn't have the platform that I could perform, right? I've always chatted to Zinni and with Fitzy, right? And I'm going, I tell you what, I'd love to have swapped positions with Grant Fox
Oh yes,
on that 88 tour to see how it had gone.
he was so good, Grant Fox. Oh,
He was
what a
brilliant.
player.
He managed, he was like the facilitator. But I'd love to have, like I said, okay, let's try one game. I'll play with the All Blacks, and then
Yeah,
Fox play with Wales, okay?
be
But
interesting.
I'm sure I just scored a few tries, like, because playing behind that pack and that team is different. And that's why I think it's very difficult when you we try and compare players and and eras, but it's the team they're playing as well. If you're given the platform,
Yeah,
you can show your skills off a little bit better, maybe, so the pack forward is vitally important. So, and that's what comes
absolutely.
back to Widnes. When I come back to Widnes, I learned who to run off. So when you had Mossy, when you had Joe Grimmer and
Yeah,
Kurt, right, and they'd hit the tackle and just wait and wait and wait, and I see the arm slowly coming loose, and all of a sudden I just hit the
hit that
hole,
hole. Yeah,
and then all you're through, and against the full back, I'm on the full tilt and he's on his back feet. Most of the times you could just skin him, like put him where you want him and score. And if that was, Martin was usually outside screaming for it. So
not bad to have him outside, Jay. Not bad.
he's quite lightning. Come on, come on. So no, he's that was the difference. Playing on the front foot
Yeah,
was a huge advantage. A
I bet.
huge advantage.
And you see it all the time in the NRL. A team that's struggling signs some elite player, but they just kind of go missing that whole season because they're playing in a team that's just not at the level required
No,
to,
it's like
accommodate such a good player. Like I've seen it so many times over the years where,
there's my dog. There he is. Hello, Barney, New Zealand.
hello.
Yeah, go on. Get down there. So that's why, right? I went to a good team.
Yeah, I don't blame you. No, you
It
only
was so
get one
important.
shot.
It was so important for me to say, right, okay, where can I get the best out of my ability if I played with someone else? And I
Yeah,
think that was key because I looked at them, and they had big pack of forwards, and I could then say, right, I could play on the back of them,
yeah,
which is brilliant.
absolutely.
In a way, sometimes you break through, and it was like you just have so much space, unbelievable
Yeah,
on the back of, because they gather all the defenders,
yeah,
and then they just come in and go, right, here we go, one flick pass and bang it away. Tony
yeah,
Milo was brilliant as well doing it,
yeah,
So I was very lucky to go. But then again, on the flip side of that, you got to you got to try and earn your place.
that's right.
Pretty hard work. It's pretty hard work,
Yeah,
And that's right. I was lucky. I was versatile because I could play in most positions. So when there were injuries and everything, I wasn't really upset about filling in because I spoke to
okay.
Dougie and said, look, I'm playing well enough to earn my number, earn my right. So if there was everyone full team, I would play in a side somewhere.
Okay.
I enjoy playing left centre
Yeah.
because the problem with that, you always played against the bigger boys. You had in the space of a season, you play against someone like Inga,
Cool.
John Devereux sometimes, when I was playing against him, Richie
Yep.
Blackmore, Ken Iro,
Oh,
uh,
mate.
Paul Newlove. But what I did was, because I looked at it and went, right, plays better passing right to left.
Yes.
So I said I'd have the ball quicker, because I was
Okay.
playing left side. And if I rushed up into the faces of the opposite number, they wouldn't have the confidence in me to throw the left-handed pass.
Okay.
So I constantly run up and down and try and like close the space off. So rather than make the tackle. So and it was easy for me to step back and control the kicking game as well. But I enjoyed centre, but also at full back. You know, I enjoyed you were more exposed defensively the high kicks because in those days you're in the air. You can't. You know, they just take you out and all that. But no, you can't. If you're in the air, you can't compete for it. And even as a kicker now, when you watch like Nathan Cleary, you know, the last penalty, but he got taken out. You know, So, but it was great days, really great days.
Yeah, man. And that saw you sign with the Canterbury Bulldogs in 1991. You come over, down under. And so how did the whole idea of coming over to Australia come about, and how did you land at the Bulldogs?
I think that was all about the relationship with Bullfrog,
Okay.
Peter Moore, and Dougie Lawton. And that was all. And I never thought about it, and I was sad because I'd only just started. This is 91, so I'd only played a season and a half.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, NRL, hang on a minute, this is like another level again.
Yeah.
So Dougie said to me, I think it'd be a good idea for you to get educated and and go to Bulldogs. I'm like, what? Sure. Yeah, I think you should. So didn't speak to anyone else. Just they came in, offer went. And again, the pressure's on then again. The pressure to perform because reputation means nothing.
Okay.
Because I was on a contract where even if I played one game or all the games, that I was on the same money.
Okay.
But it came down to pride, and Bullfrog said thank you at the end of my time there, because he said you taught the young kids professionalism, because the following year they got the final.
Yeah.
And I think I'm not sure if they won. They did win, but again, going over there was a different level again. The training and the professionalism. But playing with, I was very lucky. Then I played with Jarrod McCracken was there, Bruce Maguire was there.
Yeah. Terry Lamb, Ewan McGrady,
Terry Lamb, and Ewan McGrady. Terry Lamb was one of the greatest players to play the game.
Yeah.
He read the game, his footballing ability, he was hard as nails. Terry was absolutely, what a brilliant player. I just watched him, how he played. And then Ewan McGrady was just different.
Yeah.
He won
the Dally M, didn't he?
He did that, yeah?
Yeah, he's unbelievable.
They had to go and get him out of McDonald's because he didn't want to turn up for the dinner. So he won Dally M. He was like that good. He was just sensational. But luckily, I think I scored 9 tries in 14 games.
Crazy.
So, and in the NRL, that's quite high, So
you did great.
The pressure is huge over there, and I scored a try against North Sydney on television.
Yeah.
Friday night football, and that kind of put me in a good place then, and I enjoyed it. But I love the Bullfrog. He said, "Oh, will you sign a 3-year contract?" And I went, "Look, hang on, Pete. It's like I've only just signed for Widnes. If you're trying to nick me off them, it would be a massive court battle." I was living in Cronulla at the time.
Okay.
And I loved it. I loved it over there. I did love it over there. So it's part of my plans now. When maybe after next year, our youngest daughter goes to college. I want to go and do a tour of New Zealand, Australia, maybe next year's World Cup. So if anybody wants me to commentate now down there for the next World Cup, I can come down. I might do that and just tour. Me and my wife will tour New Zealand and South Africa, I think, and just go and see all that I met before, So.
Oh well, make sure you come to Christchurch, and me, a Sydney, and a Mossy, we'll all come hang out. It'll be good.
I'm definitely coming around to seeing everyone. So, but it's I hope to spend a good couple of months down there just touring, because I've never been there. Really seeing both countries, because you don't see them when you're touring. So so 91 was a great season. And when I came back from Sydney, the difference, like my game had expanded, and I won Players Player of the Year that year.
Wicked. How good's that?
It's a huge achievement for me, because when people say, "Oh, you're not good enough, you're not going to make it," then a year and a half into a game I've never played, you win Players Player of the Year. You're voted by the professionals. It's a high accolade, and I was very, very proud of that. Very proud of it.
As you should be, and you helped them reach the finals. Like that was like sort of part of their plan, was to try help get the doggies into that top 5, and you did. You scraped in, didn't you?
Yeah, we got them. We had to beat. We had 2 last games. We had to beat Newcastle away.
Yeah,
I remember. That's the first. I think I was sin binned for being a professional foul.
Okay.
I remember Terry Lamb sparking Harrigan and Sargent out in 2 tackles, bang, bang. So he stopped their momentum. He was hard as nails. So we won it there. And then we had to beat Cronulla at home, where you had the great Ettinghausen, Matt McGraw.
Mate, how good's it, ET?
Playing against them too, like.
Amazing.
ET was cool as hell, like, and he was really good looking as well, wasn't he? Everyone loved him, like. So
everyone loves ET.
Yeah, he does. So he was, and we beat them as well. We 12-0 down. We 12-0 down in both games, and we beat. And we come back. We come back and won.
So good.
It was important, really, really important to get to the finals. We lost against Wests, but we had a chance. The hooter went, and I was free, and the hooter went, and everyone's up in arms saying, "Oh, we could have had a chance. We could have won." But hey, it was what it was at the time, and the good thing was then they actually they went to the final. I watched them the following year, and it was brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. So is it fair to say you're quite satisfied with your contribution to the Bulldogs in that 91 year?
I hope so. Yep. Bullfrog sent me a present the following year to say thank you for my part in reaching this was. Which is nice. These little things, little touches mean a lot, So
Absolutely.
I still watch the Bulldogs now, and then I left. I went to Warrington then. Widnes' financial situation.
Yep.
I came as world record signing, and then I went as a free transfer.
That was after your Challenge Cup. That was your last game for Widnes, wasn't it? That Challenge Cup final.
Yeah. I didn't play that well that game, and I think a lot of us didn't play. We could have won that game. I think we not slightly overawed, but we didn't take our chances, and we gave away a couple of silly tries. But that's the difference of Wigan and them days. We could get it.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Now I said I'm good friends with a Seni from Marlow. So, what are your memories of a Seni and a Mossy, all those Kiwi boys?
Well, I knew a Mossy because. Dougie said, "I'm buying this guy called the Mossy Coloto." I said, "No, I played against him." So he's a brilliant player because he'd have played for the Blacks. He would have played for the Blacks, wouldn't he?
He got close.
Zinni and Buck there, but Mossy would have played for the Blacks. He was such a talented player, great footballer, just strong.
So strong.
I see him hitting people like I was like, yes, I felt sorry for him. Son. I'm like, here he comes. He's like a missile, and he's a great ball handler. Great bloke as well. He's good company and everything with a good laugh. But I remember him just tearing sides apart on his day. If he turned up, he wasn't a better player in the world. He wasn't a better player in the world if he turned. And then Asen, he was like, we just call him odd job. He was like turned up, skinhead. He was like so fast. I remember he ran. I think he caught. I think he caught John Gallagher from behind. Remember John Gallagher, the fullback? We played against him 2 games, and he run over him twice, unfortunately for John. And then John wasn't kind of nurtured like I was nurtured. I think I felt sorry for John. He went to a club, was a big club, and I don't think they looked after him, so I felt a little bit sorry for him. But then Senny just absolutely nailed him once, and then run round him once. It was like he was so quick. Senny was, and he was like this silent, smiling assassin.
Yeah.
So they're brilliant. They're great blokes. You know.
Such
we went to barbecues. You know, him, Kurt, and Emosi. We're always having these like hungies and all that. Like so.
Hungies.
How good. It was good fun. Hungy in Widnes.
Oh, how good, man. That's awesome. So how did you enjoy the move to Warrington? I think you scored 21 tries, 99 goals for the year. Absolutely smashed it. You won the Man of Steel. Warrington finished second on the ladder. Like, what a season. So, how did you enjoy that, man? You had to.
I think going there was, again, they had a big connection with Southern Hemisphere boys. You know, they had Davidson, Roach, Bob Jackson, Dwayne Mann. So when I went there, Kelly was there. Kelly Shelford.
Yes.
Kelly was cool. What a class player he was, right?
Yeah.
And I went again. I was under pressure. They thought I was past my sell-by date. So I went there, and it just reignited my career really, because they were like, I suppose, mid-table. We just played for each other, and I was very fortunate. I scored a lot of tries that particular season. I think I scored 60 odd tries when I was there, but in a short time, you know. So it was. I just enjoyed playing there. It was a great atmosphere in Warrington, you know.
Yeah.
And I didn't upset the Widnes fans because I had to leave. I didn't ask to leave. I was asked to leave. So Warrington was on my doorstep, so I went there. And I enjoyed the whole great bunch of lads. Yeah. Expectation wasn't as good, but we really knuckled down and played well. And we beat everyone else, but we didn't actually beat Wigan or Bradford, the ones against us in those two games. I think we might have beaten Bradford once. But there was one big incident where we lost. We were drawing against Wigan, and the referee gave penalty to Frano the last minute of the game. Paul Cullen dropped the knees in him. He didn't read the room. It should have been a draw, and then if that was the case, we might have won the championship. But yeah, I swore. I think referee tried to send me off after the game because I called him all names, cheating bastard and everything. So, but yeah, I won. You know, that year then played against the Aussies in Wembley. For the try, I won Man of Steel. Yeah, the great try. I won Man of Steel. And I won Player of the Year. So again, to do that twice, you know, I was so proud of being, you know, admired by my fellow pros. The one regret that season I had, got injured against Australia that game. Okay, I went off. I hit my collarbone, and I didn't play in the last two tests. Yeah, because I never feared the Aussies. So, you know, I respected them immensely. You know, I knew that the All Blacks in rugby union on Australian Rugby League played against the best. But I respected them immensely. The players they had, you know, Ricky Stewart and Alfie Langer and Brad Kettler, Steve Renouf. You know, amazing side. It's just, you know, and but I scored. I played down there and scored against them in 91. Scored against them for Widnes when they toured. So I scored against them when we lost 15-6 or 15-9 or something. Then I scored against them in Wembley. So I did feel like I could score against them. Yeah. And that I do regret that I didn't play the last two tests of that season because they were close games. Yeah. And it'd been nice to see if I could have made a difference. But sport.
But how good was that try running around Brett Mullins? Like in that moment, did you just think, right, I'm just going to take on like the greatest,
it was weird.
Fullback in Australia?
There's a couple of things that happened. Is he wrote something in the papers the day before saying that he was the quickest fullback in the world, which rightly he was. He was absolutely
unbelievable. Honestly, it was amazing.
I watched him scoring tries. Like he scored about like 10 100-yarders, like, you know, like, and he was like, and he played for that side, you know, the Canberra. So you're looking at a proper side. But then I played against him in the sevens. This a couple of years in, and I'd stood him up once because he's obviously taller than me.
Okay,
he's got long limbs. You know, you got on a straight race, he beat me, but you got to just figure it out how to beat people. How to put him in a position where you want to be. So I kind of knew that, you know, he was way quicker than I was. Then I remember watching that match. It was a play the ball, and he got involved in a tackle. And for some reason, he got involved in a little fracas with Alan Hunt.
Okay.
So as the ball came wide, then I kind of took note of it that, okay, he's not. Maybe I could grab it through. Yeah, he's not there. So then all of a sudden, it was Fittler under roof. Had a bit of a dog leg through the dummy, and off I went. And then space opened up, and I could see him bust in the gut because he'd been caught up. He was out of position a little bit. He was flying across, right? And I just went, I just got to check him now. So I just fainted to come inside a little bit, just a little bit of a body angle. He checked. I knew I'd scored 10 yards out then. So it was amazing. It was an amazing feeling.
It's one of the great tries.
Very lucky. You know, anything. Charlie Martin goes to me, it's the second best try ever scored in Wembley. I'm like, yes. You scored against Leeds when you went round Neil Harmon and Alan Tate. I scored against Australia when I went between Fittler and Roof and went on the outside of Bethnal. Hey, mate, there's no comparison. So we take a Mickey.
Amazing.
I'm very lucky. I scored some great tries on television, and people remember. You create memories, and you create memories for yourself. You create memories for people as well. So in hindsight, I'd love to have had a spell in Australia. Yeah. Just to see how it go. I love playing like outside. I love when I went to the Cowboys. It was a new franchise, right?
Yeah, and they got flogged every week.
The fans were incredible, right?
Yes, they were. They were great.
But the thing is, there's so much natural ability with the youngsters over there, right? You knew it was always going to happen.
Yeah.
The NRL are brave in going out. We'll go to Brisbane. We'll go to Melbourne. We'll go to Gold Coast. We'll go to, and expanding the game because they know there's an abundance of talent in those areas, and they only need to be nurtured, right? And I there was so many great players. There was a young kid at fullback called Reggie something.
Reggie.
Oh, I can't remember his name, but I knew he was such a great player. Like, there was a couple of old stalwarts there. What's his name now? The centre. Played for Castleford.
Adrian Vowles?
Adrian Vowles. Wow, what a great player. Man. And what a great guy.
He's the man. Love Adrian Vowles. I'm good friends with him, actually.
Give him what a player. Hard as nails, right? Like, gave everything, right? Unbelievable. But we had this, because there are a lot of Gold Coast players.
Yeah.
And the coach, I don't think the coach is ready for it, Grant Bell. I don't think he was ready for it. He wasn't ready. And we had this losing mentality and losing culture.
Okay. Yeah.
So I understood. It was frustrating because I could have gone to Cronulla that year because Richardson was after me, and maybe in hindsight I should have gone there just to finish my career. But it was all a bonus for me because I was going to be tired anyway. I was tired, and because I scored that try in Wembley, everybody wanted me. I was like, oh no,
what have I done?
I'm knackered. But then again, I knew I had to do something, and for the Cowboys, and we won one game and everything. But again, I should have gone to a stronger side. You can't go to a side which is, and then you can't. You got to be part. You can't just carry a side. Yeah. But I scored one of my best tries against Newcastle.
Okay. That's a pretty decent side too back then. They were just starting to get better.
You got to try and watch it because Matty John says it's one of the best tries he's seen. Because I think I'm a great admirer of Andrew Johns. I think he's maybe the greatest footballer I've seen play. Maybe the greatest footballer that I've seen play. And I got I've run out of defence, and he's in front of me. And for some reason, I hadn't done it for years. I just this double step to beat him, and he just like he stood there like this, and I've done. He haven't even touched me, right? And then I go past Robbie Davies, and I score.
Oh, mate.
And that's I watch it sometimes. I laugh. And,
I'm gonna have to find that try.
Yeah, have a look at it against the new, and it's so funny because I can see I can imagine what Andrew Johns was saying but then again they flogged us 50 points to 4 or something because they were brilliant.
Such a good side.
They're chatting to Matty going, slow down, boys, come on, give me a break, How's the guess? Watching them in their splendor, how good they were in their days,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's admiring people. And we haven't even mentioned Mal, Big Mal.
No, Big Mal.
Few games against him and Laurie. Amazing players, amazing battles, So
incredible.
Brilliant. Yeah,
it's such a good era of rugby league in Australia because the immense talent, like the amount of legends that came out of that era, I think it's just phenomenal. Like way more than say today. I think there's just so many memorable great players.
If you look at Nathan Cleary, right, he's just different grade.
He's above everyone, right?
He's up there, and he's going to be up there with the greatest of all time. Well, you had your Jeff Toovies and Cliff Lyons. You had then you had your Ricky Stewarts.
Yeah.
And Laurie Day.
Craig Coleman, Craig Field. Des Hasler.
Phil Blake.
Oh God, he's one of my favourites. He's amazing.
All these boys.
I don't forget Peter Sterling, Brett Kenny.
Brett Kenny.
Unbelievable.
I played against Wally.
Oh my God, how good's that?
Wally was playing for Gold Coast up there.
Oh,
I was so excited. I was just so excited I was playing against him. I was like, oh my God, great Lewis. And he was at the end of his career, but it was just, it was just ridiculous the names you come up against.
Gary Freeman, Kiwi lad,
look at this, him and Stacey Jones, and what has just retired?
What club?
The halfback, the Warriors.
Oh, Sean Johnson.
Oh,
so good.
Again, what a player he is. Oh, on his day he could do anything, and that's.
Well, do you remember the World Cup match where he sliced you open in the last 10 seconds of the game to win the match?
I was commentating. Well, it wasn't Great Britain. It was England, so that's all right.
Yeah, you don't mind that.
I was commentating. I could see coming. I think it was just rushed up. Someone rushed up. Bam, bang, inside step, done.
Oh, it's just a touch player playing rugby league is just unstoppable when he gets that step going.
He's a brilliant player. He was a brilliant player. So we had so many in those days. So many. It was just.
Well, I don't see them now. They're more robotic players now, all playing in their lane, all doing their job, and it gets a little. It's not like the old days.
No.
Yeah.
That's where you get all the robots, and then you get those once in a generation player. Whereas when we played, there were so many footballers. For Terry Lamb not to be able to get the best place.
It's crazy, isn't it? Or even Cliffy Lyons, he came through at the wrong time. No, it's
just the quality of those players.
Yeah,
was just immense. There were so many of them. There's so many of them.
Kieran Walters, Alan Langer, Brad Fittler, Steve Carter, Greg Alexander. It's just so many.
Yeah, Greg Alexander, how good was he? You know what I mean?
Unbelievable. Unreal.
Fittler's just. He was absolutely brilliant as well. Ferdy Fittler was a great player as well. Laurie was hard as nails. Yeah. Oh, then you had Steve Renouf. Then we played against Wales. Played against Wales. Played against Australia. Scott Gibbs played against Steve Renouf. Steve Renouf scored 4 tries against him. Scott Gibbs said, "I got to shake that after the game. I'm touched him all game." He said.
Do you remember the last-minute try he scored when he was over in the UK? When Frank Endicott was coaching, was it Wigan? and he scores in the last minute of the game to win the match, and Andy Farrell kicks the goal to win the match. Absolute freak of a player, Reynolds. Just
another one, like,
leads to the field try in the last few seconds of the game. Crazy.
But I've been very lucky. I've grown up with, I was like, Faz came into it, right, when I was playing. Paul Sculthorpe and Iestyn Harris.
Iestyn Harris, Welsh legend. Right.
I know. Those three players I played with, as well. And the two of them were 17 when I played, when I was in Warrington. And then Faz came through and played for Great Britain, and I realised, I think Faz has got to be up there, top 5 players. He could do everything.
Wow.
He was a brilliant. He'd have gone down well in the NRL as well. Him and Paul Sculthorpe. I think I'm lucky. Like, a lot of the boys haven't had the opportunity to play in the NRL, and I've been lucky to play in the I am lucky, and I've played Rugby Union World Cup, played Rugby League World Cup.
Yeah.
I've played kind of rugby league in Australia, played rugby league in the UK, played rugby, in Australia, New Zealand. So I crammed a lot into my career, and I've really enjoyed it. And I do look back on things like this and appreciate the players that I've played with and against. People go, "Oh, who's the best player you've played with and against?" It's so hard when you look at all those players. And I played against Wally, and I played against Andrew Johns, I played against Malman Ingham, going like,
they're all immortals.
I know. You know what I mean? Played with Terry Lamb, maybe the greatest rugby league player I've played with.
Yeah. How good was he, man?
Oh, I know. Faz, we haven't even mentioned Ellery.
Oh, Ellery Handley. How good was he? Especially when he came over to Balmain in '88. Oh, and Andy Courier, he played there as well.
And I just played with us, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, mate. There's not that many backs that have come over from the UK that have really succeeded. Like, I remember Sam Tompkins came over. Everyone always thought he was a little underwhelming when he came to the Warriors, but the forwards tend to do really well. Like your Gareth Ellis's, Sam Burgess is like one of my heroes of all time.
Dennis Betts.
Dennis Betts. I've got him coming on the podcast, so I'm very excited about that.
He's good lad. He's a good lad, Dennis. He's a great lad. Dennis, Andy Platt was a good player.
Andrew and Morley. Oh my God, what a beast!
Morley. Yeah, Morley's brilliant player. And I think it's a shame because I think the Union boys offered something different.
Yeah.
Whereas now in the UK, there's more money in Union than League.
Okay.
And I think that it'd be interesting to see if some of the NRL boys would try and tempt some of the Union players over, But then again,
very often.
I don't know if they haven't got the patience and the time to invest in them, because you want success like that, don't you?
Yeah. Well, there was a while there where you had Matt Rogers, Lottie Takiri, Wendell Saylor. They all went over. Peter Ryan. Yeah. They all went over to rugby, and they did really well. They were very successful.
They were. Matt Rogers were, wasn't he? He played. Matt was a great player as well.
Andrew Walker was another one.
Huh?
Andrew Walker was another one.
Yeah, Andrew Walker. Yeah,
very well. Yeah.
Anyway, so it's weird when you think. People think, it's people think it's easy.
Yeah.
But not many people have done it.
No.
To do the both codes at international level, because it's such a different game, technically, and with all the laws and everything, it's like you've got to get your head around it. And because on many news occasions, when I was playing full back, right, they'd kick the ball down, there'd be a big defensive line. I was thinking, I'm going to belt this into touch.
Not in the league.
The rugby union head, I'm going, oh shit, I can't do that.
Oh, I'm going to get smashed.
Yeah, so and I worked out like which is the softest guy's gonna hit me now. Like I run into David Gillespie once. Jesus.
Oh my God. Oh, was that when he was at Manly?
He was at West, I think he was.
He was at Western Suburbs before Manly, yeah.
I think my feeling just.
There's two guys who did convert, Brad Thorne and Sonnyville Williams, and they went back and forth a couple of times. They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. Brad Thorne. Tough boys they were.
God,
it's good though. It's great to I was very lucky that going into television, I think at the time I was finishing, league was the defence was getting inundated with league defender, coaches. So it was very easy to understand, what they were trying to achieve and put it over to the general public.
Right.
Really, but it's been brilliant. Just doing commentating on the league and union international level. I've been very fortunate after. Like, I've been with the BBC now 27 years.
Far out. How good's that?
So yeah, we've been very lucky with sport, to be honest. So yeah, sport's been very kind to me. I've been very lucky.
Yeah.
Met some great people in sport, brilliant people.
Absolutely. Just last few questions. Like, you played 9 games for Wales during your career, and during that 1995 World Cup, you played alongside John Devereaux. I've also had on the podcast. What did it mean for you guys to, being former Widnes teammates and representing Wales together, playing a World Cup for Wales Rugby League? What did that mean to you?
It was weird because it was like, because we'd all gone away from home.
Yeah.
And really, just thought, they get lost, and if you don't succeed, you fail. You can't play rugby union anymore. Okay. So to get to kind of restart Wales in '91, Papua New Guinea, was a big thing, because we always had low numbers. We didn't have enough players, so you always had a person whose grandmother had a weekend in Bangor or somewhere. So we nabbed him, so a lot of them, yesterday, had grandparents, and a lot of them had proper Welsh grandparents. So we started then to really think, right, okay, we got enough players to get together, and we wanted to be competitive, because the last thing we wanted to do was come back and not win. And we had a really, really enough good players. We run New Zealand close. Should have beaten them, because Davies scored a try under the post and he didn't give it. And I think it was a try. The TMO these days would have given it. We beat England. Beat England in Cardiff. We beat. We got that Samoan game was absolutely immense.
Yeah.
In the World Cup, that people still talk to me about that. They said, look, it's the most ferocious physical game they've ever seen in their lives. We had really boys. We did real tough boys, like all the Welshies, Moriarty, Young, Mark Jones, Skerrett, all these boys, Gibbs, Debs. We weren't going to take it backwards. Then we beat them on skill that day, and then England in the semi-final, I think, was a step too far for us, because we had a small squad.
Yeah.
They beat Martin scored 2 tries. I think he was like NFL, and he bounced 2 of them. But that I think maybe Wembley against Australia would have been a bridge too far for us. I think it would have been a bridge too far. So, but it was just we had such a great time, because a lot of the boys were isolated and lost, not playing in a good side, getting beat, getting slagged off everywhere. So when we got together, it was really nice, because they felt part of something. Yeah. And they really enjoyed it. When we went home, we had great support. And
that's so cool. We
won the European Cup. We beat France out in France. So we achieved something, and it was nice to see the boys who are maybe not gone and not heard of, enjoying themselves again, which was really, really lovely. So and it was nice. My last game there was semi-final for the World Cup when we lost, and I was going to retire then. Rugby union went professional, so I dragged it out a couple of years. But then I played for Wales again and everything, but I was not the player I was.
Okay, and that was the time to hang up the old boots and move on to the next chapter.
My wife got ill then, and unfortunately she passed away. My wife passed away at the age of 35. I had 3 young kids, 7-year-old, a 3-year-old, I'm trying to juggle, finishing playing, and then BBC came in, so I was lucky then. So and just got to live. You got to live life to the full, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a tough time to go through, man. It's a pretty tough thing. You
got to look back at it and go, and just appreciate, what you've had and how lucky you've been to see the world and play sport and just be happy, like, and then go into television and enjoy it. And it's just one of those things. I'm lucky. I've given something back because I'm now a president of a cancer hospital in Cardiff.
Nice.
And because my dad didn't go there, but my wife was treated there.
Okay.
So they asked me to be president about 14, 15 years ago. So I've been doing all these stupid cycle rides, like cycled Yosemite to the Golden Gate Bridge, and we did
Amazing.
San Francisco to LA and Boston to New York. We've done Mallorca last year, and then we did Paris to Bordeaux in the last World Cup. And we've just passed total of £50 million raised this year.
Amazing. That is incredible. What a legend.
So it's nice to put something back, It's nice to put something back into it. So it's been but no, I'm laid up with this dodgy knee now, so I gotta get over this now. See where I go again. But that's the plan. Year after next, Rugby League World Cup. I want to come down to Australia, New Zealand, do a bit of a tour. I might do a speaking gig or in the World Cup. Just bring my wife down. Might do a little bit of television work if I can.
Yep.
So let's see. It'd be nice to visit, New Zealand and Australia and really enjoy the whole country.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. It'd be fantastic.
Get over.
Right, man. I'm going to finish with 3 questions that I ask everybody on my podcast to finish, which is, so what team do you support in the NRL and the Super League?
Well, that's easy now because I think NRL is Bulldogs.
Okay.
That's where my heart is. I do support. I keep an eye on the Cowboys as well. Obviously, the 2 teams, but maybe the first one I went to, and the more I had I'd love to have gone the Cowboys now when they're a good side and be competitive. But I think I support the Bulldogs mainly, and then the Cowboys. Those 2. Super League, it's Warrington because I played for Warrington.
Yes.
Widnes aren't in it, so that's quite of an easy one.
Yeah.
So those are the ones.
Fair enough too. Geez, they went in the Challenge Cup final this year, didn't they? They lost.
They got beat, didn't they?
Yeah, scattered. I was hoping
they got beat on Friday night against HLKR beat them as well, which is
that's right.
They didn't play as well as they could, but yeah, Sam Burgess made a good impression on everyone down here. So Sam's a good guy, and we've seen he's come across in Warrington's playing this year.
That's brilliant. Okay, man. So non-league related, what is your favorite TV show or TV series of all time?
Only Fools and Horses.
Oh yes, Trigger. That's brilliant.
Delboy and Rodney.
Yeah, that's so good.
Orange Tooth.
Oh, that's so good,
Class.
man. I love that show. Come on, Delboy. Let's go. I love it. Okay. Okay, last question, man. If you're going to eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
One meal.
Yep.
Is it a starter or just one meal?
Whatever you like. You can have a starter and a main. Go for it.
I'm going. Duck in pancakes for a starter.
Right.
Then I'm going Welsh lamb Sunday roast.
Beautiful.
And then apple crumble and custard to finish it off.
Oh, living the dream right there, man.
with a nice glass of red.
Beautiful. Oh, that's excellent. Oh man, that's so cool. So thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Going back in the day with me, man. Absolute privilege to meet you and have a chat, mate. I absolutely enjoyed it. Big grin on the face, man.
Yeah, Dave, I really enjoyed it, and say hello to Seni and Imossi, but say hello to. I haven't been to New Zealand since 1990 now, so it's a long time since I need to get back there. So yeah, hello to all the Union and the league fans down there. I thoroughly enjoyed my time playing down there, and I hope they enjoyed watching me.
Mate, that's so cool. Thanks everyone for watching and listening out on Spotify. I've been your host, Dave. This has been the incredible Jonathan Davies. We went back in the day, and we'll see you next time for Kickoff.
Full time.